Well, a productive day in Hockley County and Levelland today. We have a few things to talk about today about the ongoing operations. I know there are some folks that are still out working at several locations. We're going to talk about those, and I want to do a couple of operational things, and then the folks that are behind me will obviously go into some as well. But for those of you that I don't know, my name is Ray Cypress. I'm the sheriff in Hockley County. With me also is the Levelland Chief of Police, Albert Garcia, Sergeant Johnny Burris with the Department of Public Safety, and with the FBI Dallas Field Office, Acting Special Agent in Charge, James Dwyer. We have said it's been a very eventful day today. We have crews out there still working several locations. I know y'all have received calls, but this afternoon, after over a year-long investigation, we hit 7 game rooms in and around Levelland. Locations include Opdyke West and the city of Anton, and the remaining 5 were here in Levelland. Between the Levelland Police Department and the Hockley County Sheriff's Office, we were able to put crews out with the Department of Public Safety and the support of the FBI and arrested so far 11 individuals. And those individuals are facing charges anywhere from gambling promotion through possession of controlled substance, manufactured delivery of a controlled substance. We have one individual who was arrested on a parole violation. And I believe there are still additional offenses being investigated related to possible organized crime and financial crimes. So this has been a year in the making. I will say that. We have been running a simultaneous operation alongside of the Department of Public Safety and the FBI, and they will speak to that part of the operation here just momentarily. But I have to say, from our office, we think this was a great partnership. And I know folks will ask the question, well, what are we doing about the game rooms? Well, we've been, for the last year, working on these game rooms, and then today finally arrived. We were finally able to complete this part of the investigation and move on to the next part, which is seeking indictments and seeking further investigative efforts to get these places closed. So I'm going to let Chief of Police, Albert Garcia, talk about his part of the investigation, his part, but we are grateful for the partnership with the FBI. We are grateful for the partnership with the Department of Public with the AUSA, with our local district attorney's office. And I've got one thing I want to read from someone else who was not able to be here. It's Sheriff De La Cruz in Cochran County, who was also a part of this operation. He would like to thank state and federal law enforcement partners for their continued support in helping us make our community safer. I appreciate all of the support we've received from these agencies during the last few months while these investigations were underway. And most importantly, thank you to the Cochran County Sheriff's Office staff for the continued dedication and commitment to keeping our citizens safe. So Sheriff De La Cruz is not able to be here and asked that we read that for him, and we are appreciative of his staff and his efforts over in Morton and Cochran County.
Thank you, Sheriff. Again, my name is Albert Garcia. I'm the Chief of Police for the Levelland Police Department, and you know, just to kind of reiterate some of the things that the Sheriff has talked about as well, and the combined efforts that we've had through several different agencies. You know, this is a prime example, once again, of our law enforcement efforts across this entire region and this district, and how well we work together from the local law enforcement agencies as far as Levelland PD, Hockley County Sheriff's Office, on to our state agency, the Department of Public Safety, as well as our federal agents that came out and assisted us and did just a fantastic job. We can't do this job without the partnerships that we have developed with all these outstanding agencies. And so again, we've been able to apprehend several suspects today. The federal indictments that had come down will let our FBI affiliates that are here with us today, and those that have been so instrumental in everything done today, we'll let them kind of visit about all that, as well as our state agencies. And so again, I'm really excited. I was asking somebody, is it appropriate for me to do something a little excited? I don't want to seem like I'm too overly excited, but I'm really excited for our community because this is a great day. We took a lot of people into custody, and I know that we have had some of our citizens throughout Levelland and Hockley County that wonder why we have taken so long to do something with our game rooms or some of the other different types of trafficking that's been happening in our city and in Hockley County as a whole. These investigations take time, and this is again, this is an example of how long it normally takes to put a good case together. And now it's going to be up to our AUSA that's going to be doing all the federal type prosecution, as well as our local district and county attorneys that are going to be doing their part to make sure that we get convictions on all these cases. And so, again, these things take a lot of time to get this stuff done. But we do want our community members to know that we do hear you. Sometimes it just takes a little bit of time to get these things accomplished. And I think one of the questions that had been posed to me already was why the game rooms? Why is it instrumental for us to go and focus on the game rooms to begin with? Well, as you'll hear from our other partners that have been part of this particular operation today, is a lot of the things that have been happening revolve around these game rooms. A lot of other criminal issues that we've been having in our community in Hockley County revolve around these game rooms. We've had several different things that we've investigated, from prostitution to narcotics to dealing in stolen property, those kind of things like that. And so, again, this is a good day for us in Levelland and Hockley County, and we're looking forward to continuing our efforts to work with our state and federal brothers and sisters that have helped us so much. So at this time, I'll hand it over to Sergeant Donnie Burris, who is going to be representing the Texas Department of Public Safety and speak on their behalf.
Thank you, Chief. I appreciate it. Thank you all for coming out. And not just a whole lot to put, just to mimic what Sheriff and Chief said. You know, whenever we get together like this is a force multiplier, and so I'm proud to be standing here along with our local and federal partners. So they've had, you know, they've heard the voices of concern from folks. You know, citizens that were wondering, hey, what are we going to do? You know, what can be done? And this would just show you that, you know, hey, we have heard you, and we're all working together to make sure that our community members are safe. So I went for the folks in Levelland, the folks in Hockley County, and I just realized that, hey, this is still an ongoing investigation, and we're going to continue to work together to advance the objective of all of us, and that's the safety of our citizens. So appreciate y'all coming out and helping us share this message, and we'll have more information, you know, as things still unfold and as we collect more information and data on these arrests. So thank you.
Thanks, Sergeant. Good afternoon. I'm Jim Dwyer, and I'm currently the acting special agent in charge for the FBI in Dallas, which includes our Lubbock residency agency. It is my great pleasure to be standing here with our partners from Hockley County, Levelland Police Department, Texas DPS, the United States Attorney's Office, and also recognizing the ATF. In addition to what you have heard from Sheriff Cyphers, Chief Garcia, and Sergeant Burris, we are here to announce the results of a large-scale drug trafficking investigation that commenced this morning. I'll tell you a little bit about today's general operation, but since the activity is recent, we are bound by court order to not speak about specific details. As soon as we're able to share them, we will. While much of the community slept this morning, the FBI and our law enforcement partners executed 13 arrests related to our operation, largely in Levelland, Morton, and Brownfield. These actions were all in support of federal grand jury indictments issued in November. A total of 18 were charged with an array of federal crimes, including distribution of methamphetamine, unlawful possession of weapons, and conspiracy. Most of the federal subjects also have pending state charges. I'll note that the subjects I mentioned here are in addition to the game room subjects that the sheriff mentioned earlier. Approximately 150 personnel executed this operation. This significant operational response was done with protecting the community in mind. FBI Dallas Division investigative elements were supported by FBI Dallas's critical incident response team and task force officers and agents from throughout our division. The goal of this operation is to make a significant impact on drug-related crime in West Texas. The FBI maintains dedicated resources and strong partnerships to help maintain the ongoing efforts to reduce violent crime. These types of crimes unsettle our communities and undermine our citizens' efforts to build safety and security in their neighborhoods. You all have heard a lot about the resources our law enforcement agencies use to serve the community. We have heard the concerns of our residents of Levelland, Hockley County, and the greater West Texas area, and we brought every possible resource to dismantle the criminal element in this operation. In today's world, the threats we face are too diverse, too dangerous, and too all-encompassing for any one agency to tackle the issue. Through our law enforcement partnerships and task forces, we are sending a loud and clear message to violent criminals that we will deploy our collective strength to ensure the safety and security of our neighborhoods and our communities. Today's operation was a success. It spanned multiple locations and multiple subjects on a range of charges and resulted in removing criminal elements from our streets. Many of those charged today are facing significant federal sentences. Many of you will recall that we announced a large-scale drug trafficking takedown in Lubbock about a year ago in September 2021. Taste the Rainbow was that operation's name. And today is evidence that we have not stopped working to forge and protect law enforcement relationships to safeguard our communities. I'm proud of the work that our federal, state, and local law enforcement agencies have performed together to effectively combat violence plaguing our neighborhoods. We're sending a loud and clear message to criminals that we will continue to exercise our collective strength to protect the communities that we serve. We are engaged with the crime problem facing our communities in a sustained manner. We have active investigations in every corner of our territory, and we will continue to pursue justice in all of those investigations. Thank you also to my entire team for their tireless work to dismantle a wide range of criminal activity. Thank you, and I'll turn it back over to the sheriff.
I think this right here is exactly what we hope to see. This is what our citizens hope to see. This is not a fractured law enforcement community. This is a unified effort that, again, has taken place over many months of investigation, and it will continue on. This is not over by a sight, so there is more to come related to this. And related to my agency, we have dedicated personnel. We're thin, but we did the job. To the investigators that worked on this specifically, did an amazing job in putting these cases together. Working with the Levelland Police Department and actively working on these 7 locations all together. Getting the partnership with the DPS, with the FBI, made all of this possible today. It wasn't definitely one single agency that did this. This was a unified and collective effort, and this is exactly what we hope to see going forward. This is what has been, I think, many times. This is what we want to continue. At this point, if there's any specific questions, I think all of us are okay to take a few questions with you.
Sheriff, if I may ask you quickly, the thing that's jumping out at me, large-scale operation, multiple locations, multiple agencies. We're hoping today that all our law enforcement folks made it back to headquarters that were without any incidents, hopefully.
Yes, actually, and I wish you could have seen what we saw this morning, and walking into the staging area to see just how many agencies were here and how many folks were suited up, ready to go. Everybody executed these operations safely. There were no reported injuries to personnel or to anybody who was involved in these operations. So right now, we still have a couple that are ongoing, but these locations are secure, and the investigative efforts continue, but everybody made it back safely, yes.
Thanks, Sheriff.
We've heard that this may be the largest game room raid in Hockley County. Is that true?
I think, again, when all of this started, when we started looking into this over a year ago, and the chief and I have discussed this, that we actually started initially with this summer of 21, when there were only a couple of game rooms, and then they started to pop up. There was more, and then there was another one and another one. So our investigation over that last year continued to broaden. And again, and the chiefs had mentioned that it takes time to work on some of these cases. It goes from surveillance activities to undercover operations. There's a number of things that go into cases like this. But the short answer to that is yes, 7 operations all run at the same time. Takes a lot of coordination, and everyone that took part in this did an amazing, amazing job.
Speak a little bit to the dangers of having these game rooms in the community.
I think as a couple of arrests that were done today are kind of evidence. I think it kind of proves our point. We've been saying that these are a safe haven and have been for folks who engage in criminal activity. And it ranges from narcotics trafficking, narcotics possession, weapons trafficking, weapons possession. Again, one of the individuals was a parole violator. This is a convicted felon who is in one of these locations. So I think that it's been, unfortunately, a place where they have flocked to do their activity. And we have taken a range of offense reports related to, we've recovered stolen property from these locations where someone has been burglarized and victimized in that way. And we've recovered their property from these locations. So the importance of it is not just the gambling operations, it's what it allows. It's what actually is drawn to those locations. And I think that's what we disrupted today. Come on, you got to have something for the chief. Anybody have anything else?
You mentioned 11, I believe you said 11 arrests, and then 13, and those
Yes.
were separate, so that.
Okay, so the game room operations this afternoon, it was a 2-phase operation today. This morning, it was the 13 that were arrested, all in custody. And then there was an additional 5 that were already in custody that have also been served. So a total of 18 from the morning operation. This afternoon, as of right now, there are 11. There may be a couple that are still out. There's still a couple of targets that we did not locate at some of the locations. There are additional warrants that will be put out that we have. We will publicize those when the time comes. And as far as information specific to the arrestees today, in the afternoon operation to the game rooms, those won't be available until after. There's a process. Again, you have to see judge, their magistration. We will actually have those out at earliest tomorrow, maybe mid-morning, maybe around the lunchtime hour. We will put that information out. And then those will be related just to the afternoon operation. All right. If y'all have no other questions, I think I'm good. Anybody else? We appreciate y'all coming. Thank y'all very, very much.
There you go, report from the Hockley County Law Enforcement Center this afternoon. Again, we've had heavy police activity through our location here on the